New Orleans. I love New Orleans. I'm not from New Orleans. I used to live there. Met my wife there. Used to live uptown. Used to practice law in New Orleans. I taught a little while in law school in Baton Rouge, but my first teaching job was going to be in New Orleans before I moved to Baton Rouge to get into government. I love New Orleans. One of the most unique cities in the entire world. So what I'm about to say, I say from my heart with love and affection, and as a former resident and frequent visitor. Here's my message to the political leadership of New Orleans. Get your act together. Get your act together. I don't go to New Orleans that I don't hear from my people down there, we need affordable housing. We need affordable housing. We need affordable housing. Let me tell you something. We spend a lot of money on affordable housing in America. Billions every year. The American taxpayer. Not state money, not local money. This is American taxpayer money. And we take that money and send it to states and local governments to build affordable housing for people who can't afford a home because the American people are so generous. And we do that through what's called housing agencies. Every state that I'm aware of has a housing agency, and many local governments have a housing agency. And the state housing agencies and the local housing agencies take this federal money and use it, given to them out of the goodness of the American taxpayer's heart, and use it to create affordable housing. And we've been doing that for years in New Orleans. There's a local housing authority called we call it HANO. The Housing Authority in New Orleans. It's run by a board of commissioners appointed by the mayor. Last year, I think we gave them $70 million. By we, I mean the American taxpayer. They've been around since 1937. The Housing Authority in New Orleans has a spectacular and impressive record of graft, corruption, mismanagement, incompetence, theft. You think I'm kidding? I came with receipts. It got so bad from 2006 to 2009 that the Housing and Urban Development in 2009 had to take them over, the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development. From 2006 to 2009, the chief financial officer of HANO stole $900,000, taxpayer money. A few years later, the guy running HANO's Section 8 voucher department, he just took a voucher for himself and paid his own rent. Skeleton head got caught. Boy, that really gave us confidence. In 2007, the feds had to step in and investigate. I think in some cases they prosecuted a vendor kickback scheme. In 2014, the director of the Housing Authority of New Orleans was investigated for giving out $1 million in no-bid contracts. Guess who they went to? The director's friends. An audit in 2010 found our auditors couldn't find $7.2 million. I could go on. I can give you a list as long as King Kong's elbow. Now, I'm tell you what's the most recent episode that has made me want to stick my head in the oven. We have a housing project in New Orleans called the Guste Homes complex. It's in a part of our city called Central City. It's pretty big, not particularly well run, but it's pretty big. It's got a 12-story building that houses apartments, and I think they have some townhomes as well. And we provide housing, once again, the American taxpayer, to the elderly and the disabled. They can live there. And the Guste Homes complex, I'll call it Guste Homes, is run by HANO, the Housing Authority in New Orleans, the Board of Commissioners appointed by our mayor. The Housing Authority in New Orleans has an administrator. And I'm not denigrating her. I don't know anything about her. I'm just telling you what's going on. But the board and the administrator of the Housing Authority of New Orleans don't run Guste. They're supposed to. They went and hired a management company to run Guste. And the management company, its overhead is about $8 million a year. I'm not kidding you. That's money that doesn't go to provide housing to people. It goes into their pocket. I was looking at one of their consultants. They hired a consultant. I don't think she works there anymore. A Ms. Sherry, I'm going to mispronounce this name, Mr. President, Singh Suvana. Never met her. I do know that from 2003 to 2024, HANO gave her $660,000 as a consultant. I looked her up. Here's the way she describes herself. I am an author, a grief mentor, and an entrepreneur who has built a career around helping others navigate loss and find spiritual healing. $660,000 to her as a consultant. Isn't that special? Well, now, the management company running, and HANO, they've stopped paying the water bill for the people who live in the house. They've run up a water bill for $1.5 million. They say they don't have the money. And the water company predictably says, well, hey, we've got to cut off your water. What are we going to do with these 310 folks? Elderly, disabled, that the American taxpayer gave money to for their housing. And now HANO's saying, don't pay the water bill. The water bill's wrong. I don't know who's right and who's wrong. But I'll tell you what else HANO is saying. HANO is saying the Guste project is a mess. Even though we've hired consultants out the wazoo and given them money, we've got a big vacancy rate. No kidding. They don't have running water. We've got a big vacancy, and there's too much deferred maintenance, so we want to start over. And by the way, we want the federal government to give us $60 million. When donkeys fly. Now, we got a new mayor in New Orleans. I'm delighted. We've got some new council people. They got to do their job. And I don't want to hear we're not responsible for HANO. The mayor appoints them. Get rid of the thieves. Get rid of the incompetence. Don't come back and ask for more money to fix your mistakes from the American taxpayer. The good people of New Orleans deserve that. They deserve better. Do better. The people living in this complex deserve better. I've had enough. I've just had enough. Fix it. And if you say, well, New Orleans, I know it's a sanctuary city. And they have their political beliefs, and by God, they're entitled to them. That's America. You can believe what you want. Okay? And they may disagree with the current administration in Washington. That's fine, too. This is America. And that's really got nothing to do with this. But you need to clean up your own act first. I don't know, I can't tell you how to do it, but the American people gave it the office. I can't tell you how to do it. Maybe you're going to have to borrow the money. Maybe you're going to have to actually raise taxes on the people of New Orleans. I hope not. But at some point, the money's got to come from somewhere. Get your act together before you come back to me or anybody else in Washington going, you got $60 million lying around. We not only can we not pay the light bill or the water bill, we want to tear the whole thing down and build a new one and have somebody else pay for it. Gag me with a spoon. Anyway, I'm going to miss Candace. Thanks for your good work, Candace. And Mr. President, I suggest the absence of a quorum.